Good morning, everyone, and here's a wonderful little article from PcGamer. It's one of these questions I get almost on a weekly basis from fans and their opinions being sent to me, or we argue about these things in private or what have you. And this is on their forums, this is on their public postings, so all the people that are writing, some people on the forums that have suggestions. It's a nice little post about the various ideas, and this is just brainstorming, so it's all fun. But some of them are just more fun or funnier than others. So I thought I'd read through this article and see what people actually think. So where do you think the next installment of Mass Effect from Bioware should go? And here are some of the people on the team and what they think. And maybe it's pessimistic of me, but I don't see a way for the series to bounce back at this point. So he's pretty much saying, yeah, it was horrible what they did with Andromeda. Anthem has been a mess up. So pretty much just get rid of it. Just don't do it again. I'd love a great new game, but right now I don't see a path to one. So he's lost confidence in the product and the company. So forget about it. Just kill it. And here's this guy just like, yep, into the bin. So right off the bat, the first two people just want it dead. Just get rid of it. Do something else. Whatever. So here's the wonderful picture of Andromeda. All right, so here we have Wes Fenlon, somewhere completely new. I know there are people who got really attached to Mass Effect. I still see N7 hoodies from time to time, but I always thought its lore was really boring. So this is interesting. You have an editor focusing on what sucks. It's like, this is boring. I don't like the lore. The aliens are boring. The locations are boring, yada, yada. He just doesn't care. So his idea is pretty much just do a complete hard reboot, not a soft reboot like Andromeda. Just, call it Mass Effect. Doesn't really matter. Just do something new. So this is pretty much Mass Effect in name only, which is a very funny take for people who are talking about the game as apparent fans. Just get rid of it. Just use the name. Chris Livingston. A story on a smaller scale would be nice. Now, I've heard this a lot. There's all different of unique takes on what would you do. A lot of people liked Mass Effect 2 because it was not as big in terms of plot. It was just go kill the things that are killing us in one ship or whatever. So it was very simple. And that was what people, I think, gravitated towards, the smaller, tighter scripts with all kinds of characters, all kinds of scenarios. And unfortunately, I guess you could argue that because of the overarching plot, this caused the rest of the trilogy to suffer. And the whole stop the Reapers, even though there were no Reapers in Mass Effect 2, or Reapers as we know them. So pretty much a side story. Detective solving murders during World War II. A lot of people have said they want a Garrus story, or a Garrus main character driven story, whether you're play as Garrus or as an accomplice or supporting role. I've heard that a lot. So this is quite common as well. Make it a scary, intimate survival story. This is interesting. So a survival story is like Andromeda's now. It was exciting because I thought we were going to get some truly other sci-fi. So you'd go to this new place and there'd be scarce resources or alien resources. You have to figure those out. So a Lewis and Clark journey that confronts the colonialism of what exactly, I'm guessing Andromeda. Just put the characters first and make them very, very stressed and unhappy. Okay, so he wants this survival, scary horror story, which I didn't even contemplate. A survival horror Mass Effect. Maybe that would work. It just sounds crazy. So echoing the others, I think we just like dramas instead of more cool spaceships. So he's just saying, well, just give me characters, give me the spaceships, give me some drama here and there. The strange thing is, I'd more specifically be up for a totally non-Mass Effect-y combat and mission design, which arguably could be a good thing. We've seen it change over the years into something it's no longer. A lean towards horror could be interesting. So again, a focus on horror. So survival horror would be like drama and what have you. I'd even be fine if ditching the RPG pretense completely and just going full Gears of War. So we're going now with a survival story, which is full drama horror, but removing RPG, focusing on gunplay, Gears of War stuff, and characters. So I would guess that's 2 for survival horror or 2 for survival drama. Interesting. Very interesting take. I've never heard of that interest before. Sounds more like another game, space horror, but it could work. I'm not saying it can't. There were some elements of horror in Mass Effect, but just very few and far between. So, yeah, maybe more like Dead Space. I don't know. Sounds strange. So, Andy Chalk, I want a Mass Effect sequel that explores what happens when the Reapers win. Wow. Okay, so that's a sequel, or maybe another cycle in the future where they just keep winning. There's no way to win. So the Asaris, Turians, and Solarians, and everyone else who's evolved beyond throwing rocks at their neighbors is cindered. So they're all gone. This is essentially a soft reboot using the same setting or the same Milky Way galaxy. The Reapers, having done what they do, withdraw to dark space and wait out the next cycle. So the issue is not the Reapers, it's the aftermath. So a post-Reaper invasion, what happens? That could be interesting. Telling a post-apocalyptic world. And the problem becomes, though, you're the player, you know all this is going to happen. How do you actually tell the characters therein that this thing is happening? Because that would really piss off the audience if you know you're in this galaxy or in this world where this thing is coming eventually and everything you're going to do is for naught. So you have to be very careful with your expectations of a player in a world that's going to be destroyed. If you don't allow the audience, or rather the player character, to interact in some way to warn people with this information, you're going to piss off a lot of people. So it's hard to wrap your brain around this. It's a retelling. It was all a dream, which I don't really get. Everyone hates the ending anyway. Yeah, you don't want to retcon. Okay, this is interesting because if you retcon the ending, you're still going to piss people off. Whenever you say something's not worth doing or something was retcon, you're immediately saying that was a bad thing. This is what really happened. So you're not choosing an ending. You're just saying, oh yeah, the ending was a massive dream. And Shepard had half his skull blown off by a massive Reaper shell or something like that. Wow, that's a retcon with a sequel, with not choosing an ending, and all the Reapers are gone, and there's some new other need for survival. It's wow. Why not just choose the destruction ending and go from there? Only make it much worse, like the worst possible ending. Oh boy, it's done, and so am I. So the guy's like, yeah, either that or just forget about it. So that's 3 people to end it or do a post-apocalyptic destruction ending. That's what it sounds like. Jody McGregor. Okay, the heart of the Mass Effect trilogy was the Citadel. All right, so a city in space where you're always turning the corner to meet new interesting species. Maybe an agent of the Shadow Broker. So this is another side story. Could be another Garrus tale. You're a cop on the Citadel, whatever. So this is another idea for a side story. That's fine. So 2 or 3 people want to end it. 2 people want a side story. 1 wants a hard reboot. 2 want a survival story. Yeah, these ideas could work. Just you'll be pissing people off regardless. So there's really no straight answer that's clear and good. It's all like, maybe this could work. Maybe survival horror. Maybe redo Andromeda. Maybe just reboot the whole thing. And of course, 2 people want to kill it. So now these are interesting. These are more not flamboyant, but more imaginative because these are from the readers. So people probably won't agree with me, but if I were in charge of the series, I'll find some way, plausible or not, to bring Shepard back to life. Oh, God. Oh, God. This is... haven't we done this already? Shepard just keeps coming back to life. It's like, Shepard, are you going to die this year? Like, what's happening? Threw a new unspeakable enemy and start a new series. So I guess maybe rewrite the ending of... There we go. So this is a retcon, not a prequel. So a sequel, more Shepard continuation, but play everything safe. because Bioware needs a hit pretty bad. So this is like trying to appeal to the masses, rebooting the series with Shepard, with a retcon, and it's a sequel. Just whoa. That is, let's drag everyone up from mothballs again. Zombie Shepard 2.0. Like, oh God. Probably not the best idea, but is it going to be safe? Because Shepard, probably not. Here's our wonderful schnoz from the Andromeda Asaris. I guess those hibernation really changed people's facial structure to be all the same. Mr. Crud. I think I would be on board for a prequel game. I've heard this before. It basically tells the story of humanity finding the first Mass Effect relay, and it was the first contact war with the Turians. Heard that a lot. Standard stuff. If that doesn't work, then something like Andromeda. Not in Andromeda, but something where humanity discovering new stuff, new aliens, new civilizations, that sort of thing, and how they react. That could work. That the first time meeting the Volus, or this or that, or a brand new series of species. It could be taking place on any time period. Just have players interact with new aliens and all the first contact scenarios, the diplomacy, trying to get languages right, trying to get trade right, economics right, all the wonders of that would be interesting. I think that's simple enough to work. That it's simple. I think that would be a great idea, whether it's prequel or otherwise. And this one I'm going to skip because the guy's named Madman. He is a madman. This is just so crazy. I would be on board for a prequel, kind of like what Crud said, an MMO. No, that'd be crazy. At the end of Mass Effect 3, or my personal, probably disagree with opinion, just actually finishing Andromeda. This is too many ideas. It's just, I want Mass Effect. Just do this or this. Do it like Dragon Age. Do it like that. Do it in MMO. Do Andromeda. It's like, this. If you think the story was fun in Andromeda, good Lord. And I would like to see a resolution. I wish Andromeda never has a resolution. Please don't. And here comes the last one, which is actually my favorite, because this is a very practical and reasonable approach to making a product. So this is Frag Maniac. I want EA to give Bioware the freedom to bring back some decent writers. So he's like, all right, first, get good talent. Get the good writers. That's job number one, and I totally agree, 100%. Get the writers back or get good writers, period. That's it. That's all you do to start things off, whether you're making a game or a story or light novel or whatever you're doing. Get good writers. I'd also like to see the dark, gritty atmosphere of 2 and 3 return. Sure, fine. Tone is very important. So you get the writers. You say, writers, I want you to write a gritty, dark world. Cool, no problem. Andromeda is so weak on atmosphere. So he's saying, yep, address the good and address the bad. Keep the good or get the good back, throw out the bad. Andromeda is bad, throw it out. Crap. So stuff that was good, that was creeping you out, was like the Collectors in 2 and the Banshees in 3. Fine. Take the elements you like that were good and throw out the rest. Perfectly simple idea. Hard to accomplish to get all the good elements and make them work, but it's still possible. The hardest enemy to kill in Andromeda was the robotic-looking space worm. I don't even remember the name. I mean, it's just funny stuff. It's like, yeah, just take the stuff that worked. Take the creepy, weird stuff. So kind of like what the previous guy was saying about survival horror, but don't make it a survival horror. Just take the horror aspects, not the entire genre, and just take those elements and work with them. And you could even make a survival horror game with those elements as the focus, but you're doing it from an effective, practical instance of a thing, as opposed to saying, in general, I want to do this, which is interesting. It's a very practical. It could be a Frankenstein approach where you just take elements and slap them together. So you have to be careful of that, but it can technically work if you know how to connect the dots with all of these elements. With a good crew, so with a good team, Bioware can get back to their creative genius. I agree. I'd really rather not know what direction it takes them in Mass Effect. So he's like, just get the right people working for you and don't worry about all the details. Get the things you really like and keep those. I think that's a practical approach. EA should know by now their draconian attitude over their dev teams is choking their creativity and ruining what were good franchises. This is where I disagree. I don't think EA was really doing that. I think the fault lies purely on the devs and Bioware itself. EA was just at an arm's reach and just asking, what deadline do you want? Okay, I'm going to make sure you stick to that. So this is really all about behind-the-scenes conversations that people are or aren't aware of, what EA and what their involvement was with Bioware, but that's fine. We all know the examples. The great Visceral Games yanked off the great Dead Space series and relegated to the horrible Battlefield Hardline, now defunct. Okay, so yeah, there are examples where EA did some bad stuff. We all know what they did to Bioware and Mass Effect, and Anthem was overhyped and under-delivered, but that's not EA's fault. See, this is the problem with the fans. They don't know this. EA had very little input with Anthem aside from saying what was good and what was bad. It's like, this is fun. Where's the flying elements? That was good. We gave you 6 years. What the hell happened? Where's all our investment that we gave you money for? EA need to get a clue why they are often called by gamers the place great dev teams go to die. I don't think this is EA's fault. You could say that it's their practice to let Bioware have free roam and that EA is not strict enough, perhaps. But I don't think that's the only problem. I think it's a lot to do with the creativity and management of the project and the lack of vision, or the poor vision of the producer and writers of Mass Effect. So I like the idea of piecemeal, of connecting the dots of things which are good and throwing out all the crap. But essentially it's bring back better writers. Make Mass Effect, make Bioware Bioware again? I don't know. Anyway, that was a fun article for me. I get these statements a lot from fans, and it's always fun to talk about what could be the thing you love the most. Anyway, thanks for listening. Have yourself a great day.